Today is the eve of spring training baseball returning, and the Tigers release some new uniforms.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Friday, February 20th, 2026. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost to get an NBA future, and after that, you will be entered for a chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome all. Happy Friday, as another week is in the books, and this one, an exciting one for baseball fans, as we are a mere, well, if you're listening to this on Friday, then you are 24 hours away from spring training baseball games being played, and that is another, I guess, step in the ladder to us being fully back. Spring training games beginning is always a really fun point. Now, they don't televise every spring training game because I don't know why, but we do have StatCast in every park, which, as I've mentioned a few times now, that just means that you can go to baseballsavant.com and get all of the live game cast and stats and peripherals and everything from all the games, which is at least some sort of consolation prize. So we'll talk a little bit about spring games beginning. We have a pitching schedule for the first few games from Cody Stavenhagen of The Athletic, so we'll talk about that. Got a few more offensive updates. We have a Kevin McGonigle update. We have Tarik Skubal stuff, etc. Just a handful of kind of news and notes. There's always a lot of kind of news right before spring games begin, so we'll go through and sift through all that. I do want to start with something that happened off the field, and that is new jerseys for your Detroit Tigers. Now, was it last year or 2 years ago was when the City Connects first came out? I don't even remember. But relatively recently, in the last 20 months, we've had the Tigers City Connects debut. And I would say they got pretty middle of the road reviews if you average everything out. I don't think anybody was super passionately rah, rah, yeah, these are absolutely awesome and the coolest things I've ever seen. But you look around the league and you look around other teams, City Connects and alternate jerseys and uniforms, they're very far from grossly vile and disgusting and some of the worst in baseball too. They're fine. They're okay. If they stopped wearing them tomorrow, I don't think anyone would really care either way. So I don't know if it's a direct response to the Motor City Connects, but the Tigers on Thursday announced that they would be, I guess, debuting two new alternate jerseys. One is all orange with blue lettering. One is all navy blue with orange lettering. There's a patch on the shoulder that has kind of I don't know, I forget who, but I saw somebody call it a modernized, Tiger logo. I think that's a pretty good description, so shout out to you if that was you. But I feel like I think this is cool. And I do want to reiterate, because every time I say that an alternate jersey is cool, I have 50 people that are oh, so you hate the Tigers jerseys? How dare you? The homes are perfect. I agree. It's okay. I take a deep breath. It is okay. You're okay. I'm okay. Everyone's okay. They're still going to wear the home whites 90% of the time at home this year. They're still going to wear the road grays 90% of the time on the road this year. It's okay. and they are beautiful, and they are perfect. And the Tigers have the same issue that the Red Wings have, I always say, right? Like, they got it right the first time. So alternate jerseys are kind of like hit and miss, because like, how can you live up to how awesome just the Old English D on the all white is? They're clean. But that doesn't mean you can't like have fun and have a cool alternate you wear like once every other week. Okay? It's all right. I really do like the orange. Honestly, I really like both of them. I'm a huge fan. I think that it's had a pretty good reception online, certainly better than any time the Motor City Connects, were received on the internet, or that opinion was floating around. It sounds like there's going to be some sort of a schedule for the alternate uniforms. This is via Evan Petzold of the Freep, said that the orange jerseys are going to be Friday night home games, which is previously what the Motor City Connects were. They were Friday night home games. And then, like, if the Tigers won a few games in a row in them, then AJ Hinch would just make the call and be like, we're just going to keep wearing these until we lose. But the original schedule is supposed to be Friday night home games for the orange. The Navy is supposed to be select road games. Now, it says select. What does that mean? How often? Whatever. I would imagine that has a lot to do with the opposing team's jersey. They're probably not going to wear the navy blues when they're like in Kansas City too terribly often. You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of make it work on the field and have there be two distinct different teams on the field. So I would imagine that is part of it. And I also just imagine that it's kind of hard to predetermine road jerseys like that. Home team gets first dibs on what they're going to wear. So they kind of have to play that one a little bit more on the fly, but I can't imagine they're going to wear them. Like, they're not replacing the grays, obviously. So, but I think those are really clean. I think the navy blues are really, really cool. And I'm excited to see those on the road as well. Also, they are still going to wear the City Connects. And reportedly, that is going to be a select amount of Monday home games. Now, some people roll their eyes at that. I get it, okay? I honestly would rather these two jerseys just replaced the City Connects. However, select Monday games, they may wear these like 4 times. Monday and Thursday are the two most popular off days in a baseball schedule for teams. So you have a handful of off days already throughout the season on Monday evenings. Also, you can then eliminate all Monday home games. I feel like that's not going to be a very big, or road games you eliminate rather. I feel like that's not going to be a very big, market or very big like pool of games to choose from. So I don't think we'll see those two terribly often, but I am thrilled for the orange and the navy blue. I think it's cool. I think it's a modern, what did they call it? The team called it like a modern twist on an old look. And I think that's kind of accurate. Back in the 80s, especially, they kind of integrated like the blue and orange stripes a little bit more on the sleeves, especially. Now, obviously, this is, that to an extreme. The whole jersey's orange. But I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. I think that these will be much better than the City Connects, and having just like a fun, Friday night alternate jersey for people, for home games or whatever, especially if they're winning like that. That's going to be kind of a fun reason to get to the ballpark. The Verlander orange is probably going to go triple platinum in the team store. There's a lot of fun that can come with this, and I'm really excited about it. Okay, now that we spent a whole episode talking about jerseys that I can't even physically show you, let's move on to news and notes from camp. We'll do that right after this. First, though, going to talk to y'all about our friends over at FanDuel. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Well, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with the NBA Sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience in a trip for two to the NBA Finals. So if you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. Futures this time of year are such a blast, whether it's picking a team to win a championship or grab a conference title. It adds an extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the NBA Finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on the NBA future and get entered for a chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, welcome back. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we, of course, will be back on Monday recapping baseball games. And that is so beautiful. I think only one of them is going to be televised. But it's something, okay? It's something, and I can't wait for it. Oh, spring training baseball. Gonna have Ernie Harwell queued up. I always post his reading of The Voice of the Turtle. Just beautiful. So thank you for tuning in, making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You can use promo code SPRING at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer, which runs February 15th through the 28th. And you will get a free month of being an Everydayer Club member, which gets you ad-free audio of this show and access to a Discord group chat just with other Everydayers and myself in it. So be sure to check that out today. We talked a lot about the jerseys. I think that's honestly like pretty big news. Sorry, I like it's a podcast. I can't like show you. I guess I could, like in theory maybe could for the YouTube viewers, but it's very easy to find. You can just Google, jerseys, whatever, and you'll find it. In terms of the news and notes coming out of camp over the last 2 or 3 days, because we haven't done a camp update here since the middle of the week. I think one of the biggest ones outside of just the starting pitching, schedule for the weekend is that Kevin McGonigle will be starting at shortstop for game 1 of spring training. And his second baseman will be Gleyber Torres. That's all via Evan Petzold of the Freep. I mean, it's awesome to hear. And like that changes absolutely nothing, right? Immediately, that announcement is made and I'm seeing, he's going to make the team and people asking me, like, does this change your opinion of like, no, it does not. It absolutely does not. The same way that Cater Montero starting game 1 of spring training doesn't make me think that he's going to be the opening day starter. Like it's obviously going to be, Skubal. And I guess pitching's a little bit different. Here's what I do think this entails. I think that McGonigle is going to play a lot in spring training. And that's not a guarantee. He didn't play a lot in spring training last year. Neither did Clark. And that's not to say they didn't play at all. They obviously did. But they are like firmly a part of big league camp now. This is not just like, they're top prospects that are going to come, like get their toes wet a little bit and just see what it's like. Like they are actually a part of big league camp. And I really do think that McGonigle is going to play a ton. One of the reasons why, more so McGonigle than anybody else, aside from just the fact that he's arguably the best prospect in all of baseball, is because, and I reiterated this yesterday, and I've said this a few times, it's because of his position. And it's because of the ceiling of Kevin McGonigle is him at shortstop. I went through that whole monologue earlier this week, so I won't spend too much more time on it. But that is so important to remember. Kevin McGonigle is at his most valuable if he is a good shortstop at the major league level. So they're going to be darned if they don't at least give him every opportunity in the book to be a shortstop at the major league level. There also isn't a lot of depth organizationally at shortstop. There's plenty of guys who can play shortstop, but in terms of like everyday guys at that position, especially major league caliber, it's pretty few and far between. It's like 3 guys, and 2 of them are going to make the team out of camp in McKinstry and Baez. So I do think that this maybe spells like he's going to get a lot of playing time, and he's going to, they're not going to be shy about playing him. He's not just going to be like last year. They just throw him in the 7th inning at third base and give him an at-bat at the end of, like random split squad games or whatever. Like now, I think that it does mean that. But, we have to actually see them play before I'm like, wow, he's going to make the team now all of a sudden. So we'll keep an eye on that. But again, pairing him with Glaber in the middle infield too, obviously that matters as well. Pitching schedule. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Kader Montero being the game 1 starter. He'll probably only go, maybe only an inning, but, maybe a couple, 2, 3. He definitely is not going more than 3 innings. They'll get a lot of other arms in there. And as I've said before, I expect Kader Montero to honestly be a guy that can, or that will rather, play a lot and get a lot of innings in spring training. Like he's a guy that it wouldn't surprise me if we looked at the end of spring training games and we were heading into opening day and we saw that Kader Montero led the team in innings pitched in spring training. Like that would not surprise me at all. The rest of the weekend, Jack Flaherty will pitch game 2 of spring ball on Sunday, I guess. Counting is hard. Brian Sammons, also a new former Tiger. He has been a Tiger before. He's now back. Will also pitch in game 2, one of the many, many, many non-roster invitees that are trying out for a bullpen spot on this team. And again, it's not just going to be those 2, okay? They're not going to throw Jack Flaherty 5 innings in game 1 of spring. But the schedule right now, those 2 are definitely throwing. And then game 3 on Monday will be our first look at Tarik Skubal and our first look at Drew Anderson, which I think is honestly, I'm pretty excited for at this point. Not that, my expectations are through the roof or anything, but just I'm excited to see how the stuff has changed since the last time that we saw Drew Anderson and what kind of stuff he's offering to make, major league clubs, in I don't know if it was a bidding war necessarily, but clearly there was some sort of market for him if the Tigers had to go up to $7 million AAV for multiple years. So I'm kind of intrigued. He has piqued my interest, if you will. Those 2 will pitch in Monday's game. And again, there will be plenty more that pitch in those games as well. All of that via Cody Stavenhagen of The Athletic, who tweeted out that pitching schedule for the upcoming games. I want to talk about workouts and what has been happening. There's been a lot of live batting practice being taken, and boy, oh boy, is there overreactions happening left and right, and I absolutely love it. So we're going to join in on that fun right after this. First, though, got to talk to y'all about our friends over at Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is the job for sponsored jobs. Indeed sponsored jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for with skills, experience, location, and so much more. So you're not just hoping the right candidate just stumbles across your post one day, right? Here's a stat that kind of says it all. Just since we've been talking, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. You can just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. And if you do that, you will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? That is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. All right, everybody. Can I talk ever? Man, third and final segment here. Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all so much for tuning in as always. So, talked a little bit about what we can expect this weekend. Let's talk some more about what we have seen over the last few days in camp. The big talk was Jose Briseño. That is the big live BP news story, if you will. Jose Briseño hit a lefty home run off of Tarik Skubal. Tarik Skubal said it's a slider. It wasn't a good pitch. And Briseño smacked it, as Briseño does. Now, this is awesome. It's really awesome. It's really fun. It's also live BP. It's also a slider, which Tarik Skubal, what's the way? It could use improvement, his slider. Not one of his best pitches. The only reason, I'm not trying to like spoil anyone's fun. Go have fun. I retweeted the video. Like it's incredibly fun and a cool thing to talk about. But like, you know, he hit a home run off Skubal doesn't mean he's like making a team out of camp all of a sudden, or that he's going to hit 70 homers, right? Like we have to tame our expectations a little bit, but still a really cool thing. And I think it's a testament to I don't know, I guess just excitement is the word I'll use surrounding Briseño, right? Like it's not just McGonigle, and McGonigle's the one because he's so highly rated. But it really is Briseño, it's Clark, it's McGonigle. I would throw Rayner in there. I think he's in that category. He just needs to stay healthy. Like there is a lot of reasons to be really excited about the players that are coming up through this system. And Jose Briseño, despite the fact that, you know, he may not be a plus defender wherever he ends up long-term, can absolutely rake. And it's just really cool to see a lefty homer off of Skubal. I'm just going to ignore my own advice and just get really, really excited about it. Very cool moment there. Also, a couple other home runs in live BP, according to Evan Petzold. Spencer Torkelson off of Kenley Jansen, noteworthy. Riley Green off of Kyle Finnegan, noteworthy. And on Thursday, Kevin McGonigle, homer off of Bo Brisky. Now, this one's kind of a double-edged sword because it's awesome that McGonigle is getting homers, and it's awesome that he is doing well, and I hope he continues to absolutely crush. I hope he makes the team out of camp because he's just forced the team to do that. I hope that that's the scenario we find ourselves in. Bo Brisky just – it would be really, really nice if Bo Brisky went back to what he was in 2024. That would really help this bullpen a lot. It would stabilize the bullpen a lot. It would improve the depth of the bullpen a ton. So, again, kind of a double-edged sword there, but still really cool to see these young hitters and these prominent hitters for the Tigers offense get off to some decent starts. And also, the double-edged sword of like, I saw somebody tweet, does this mean our offense is good or our pitching is bad? It's like, well, you know, doesn't mean either really, but I laughed. Like that is kind of the sentiment. You know, how much do you celebrate that versus, you know, being like, oh, those are a lot of our best pitchers in the bullpen and they're, you know, giving up tanks. So interesting kind of thing there, but still fun to talk about and overreact to. Speaking of, Justin Verlander also threw his first bullpen session of the spring, and Dylan Dingler caught it, which is obviously great. They're going to have to get familiar with each other over the coming weeks. I didn't hear anything about like it going poorly or anything, so we'll take that as like it was good, but just noteworthy that he is starting to, you know, put himself in simulated game situations with Dylan Dingler behind the plate. Tarik Skubal said that he's like more focused than ever to win a World Series or something this year. I mean, cool. I don't really care. Obviously I care way too much about the Tigers winning a World Series. I like that. You should say that every year. You know what I mean? Like that quote just cool. I would hope so. It's probably your last year as a Detroit Tiger. I would hope that, you know, you're locked in on winning a World Series. That's what best players in the world do. I mean, we hope. We can hope. I'll hope every day until the Tigers stop playing baseball, just like I have every year of my life. But yeah, the quote in a nutshell, you know, I saw some people that were like, well, like, trade him now. Now that he said that, trade him, because, like, you know, like, that quote means nothing to most people, I would say. Nice to hear, though, I guess. I feel like I'm, like, really like a downer today. I don't know. I really want to, A, not be the guy that's overreacting to every single spring training storyline, and B, make it very clear that if we start in February overreacting to every at bat and every pitch thrown, we're going to have lost our marbles by like July. So that's just my plan. I'm not trying to be like a jerk or, you know, tell people to not be excited. Be as excited as you want to be. Don't ever let me, you know, get in the way of fun and you know, tell you how to be a fan of this beautiful game and this beautiful team. But I want to make that abundantly clear. Like we're trying to not overreact to February baseball at the same time. That's all. Thought this was interesting. We talked about PECOTA projections earlier in the week. Fangraphs released. We kind of talked about Fangraphs' initial projections about a month ago. Now with a few more signings and whatnot, Fangraphs has the Detroit Tigers as the second highest odds in the American League to make the postseason. The only ones with higher odds are the Seattle Mariners. The Tigers given a 72% chance to make the postseason. Now, that's all like, you know, yay. I'm going to be a downer again, I guess. I think a lot of that has to do with the division. I guess my point is if the Tigers were in the AL East, they would not have a 72% chance of making the playoffs. That's what I'm trying to like articulate. The Twins are a disaster. The White Sox have been a disaster, even though I think they're a little bit better this year. The Guardians are the Guardians. Who even knows? You know what I mean? Like just compared to what like the gauntlet of teams in the AL East have to go through. Like no wonder none of them are like favored, quote unquote, to make the playoffs because they are playing, you know, borderline or just straight up playoff caliber teams every night. So that like that kind of stuff just matters. But we'll take it. You have to play the hand you're dealt. Not our fault that nobody else in the AL Central wants to try. So let's go win a division. That's kind of my mindset. I don't really care. You can talk about how bad the AL Central is all you want. You know, if we're playing in October, that's all that matters to me, baby. Bruce Meyer unanimously voted as the interim MLBPA director. He's the guy that's been leading negotiations, so no surprise really, but thought that after our conversation earlier in the week, it was at least worth bringing up. The last thing I'll say is kind of a fun way to end the show. One of my favorite Tigers ever, and not because he was good, Dixon Machado is now a manager for a minor league team in the Cubs organization, and I think that is absolutely awesome. High school Scott Bentley absolutely adored Dixon Machado, even though he could not hit his weight and certainly did not live up to, you know, his expectation of production when he was coming up through the Tiger system. Adored him. My fantasy team name to this day, in the year of our Lord 2026, is still named after Dixon Machado. So shout out my dog, and I hope that he does well. Honestly, he's still pretty young. Like I hope he flourishes and you know, makes his way up the ranks of the coaching ladder and can maybe have an MLB career as a coach or a manager, because you know, it didn't work out as a player. That doesn't mean he has to just completely roll over, and I hope so. Pretty much everybody has great things to say about him in the clubhouse and whatnot. So yeah, shout out my dog. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back on Monday recapping spring training baseball games. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope, and I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.